Recording in progress.
All right, good evening, everybody. Cognizant that there's a lot of us on this call and also looking at the time, can we please be just mindful when we are fielding questions? So nothing more than 2 questions. And let's just check first if we will not have questions that you might come onto the session with that somebody else asks. So what I'm trying to say is not everybody will get an opportunity to field the question. All right, cool. Having said that, can I please start with Ashfaq Mohammed, followed by Jan de Koning and Leighton Koopman. Thank you.
Thanks, Lunga. Hi, Jack. Congrats on the win. Where does that rank in your tenure as Bulls coach, especially after what happened in the final last year?
Ashfaq, I think to be fair, what it does do is it's not ranking in terms of the final. It's ranking in terms of backing up last week and this week. To play Munster, who won it 2 years ago, and then play Glasgow, won it last year, it takes a massive effort, especially because it was away from home. So, it's not a case of putting one higher than the other. I'm just very happy that we've been able to, in a short week, to replicate what we did last week, and that was show a lot of heart. Defensively, we were outstanding last week and this week. And all I can say is that it's a very good way to finish the tour, because now we head back and we got 2 home games, and the destiny is now again in our hands, which is fantastic.
And just the way the guys hung in there, 4th week on tour, the Challenge Cup got away from you, but still defensively, and then the rewards came on attack as well and scoring a few nice tries.
Yeah. I mean, you would know, Ashfaq, because you would understand being on tour for 4 weeks is difficult, and it takes a lot out of the players, and they're away from their families, and the conditions are different. We played, as I said, twice on 4G pitches. So I mean, I can only be proud. with that performance, because it now sets us up nicely for when we get home, and we can really prepare properly now for the back end of the competition.
Thank you.
Jake, thanks for checking us. You spoke about the fact that it's now in your own hands. So what would you say was the biggest growth in this last month on tour in the team in general?
Jan, I suppose the ability to understand how we can take another step up. There's a very talented Bulls team. I mean, I'm not just saying it because I'm the coach. It's a very talented Bulls team. There's, I think, 17 or 18 guys being included in the lineman camp. So challenge for me is just to find a little bit extra in terms of our cohesion and our desire to do well. Are we a good team? Yes. Can we win games if we all on song? Yes. But for me, the biggest growth has been away from home, beating Bayonne, first time in Bayonne that they've lost this year. First time Munster have lost to a South African side, and I wouldn't be surprised if any other South African side hasn't won in Glasgow either. So to get those sort of accolades on a tour, especially with the kind of tour we've had to endure, 4 weeks away from home, is something that just shows resilience, Jan. And that's what coaches want. They want players to be able to take another step up. If we're going to win this competition, we're going to have to beat big sides away from home. And what's really nice is we've proven in not only this year, but our away games are obviously, are as good as our home games at times. So that would be the thing that I'm most pleased about.
And not to be negative, I don't mean it negative, but last year when you played them in the league, you gave away 2 late bonus points. This time you only gave 1 away, but again, another bonus point.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the sort of thing that could be a lesson that the guys got to learn? You got to play for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, the lesson I've got to learn is what I have to learn. I mean, to be fair, I don't think you noticed, but John Elsa, another hooker on the bench, as a loose forward because Marcel pulled out. A young lock, Jacobus Grobler, just literally still under 20s, going to play under 20s this year in the World Cup. Comes in also as a reserve, and take nothing away from them, but I mean, what a game to play your first game URC for the Bulls. I mean, you play against the URC champions in a time where they're coming hard at you. So yeah, I say I'm a bit lenient with that. We will obviously expect us to be a little bit tougher and finish people off, but Jan, I've also been around enough to know that when you put players like in the last minute into certain positions and it can happen that you get it wrong. So, I'm sure the lessons that we learned and myself included, but there was nothing really that I could do. Marcel pulled out at kickoff and Pilo's hurt his back. Cameron, was at a stiff groin. We didn't want to take a chance on a 4G pitch. And we had to then, shift the dominoes around so that we could get through the game. And, at 26-7, I thought the game had been done and dusted. So putting fresh legs on, not risking an injured player, probably helped them get a bonus point. But, I would have rather taken the win from the beginning of the week anyway. So, it is what it is.
Thanks, Jake.
Thank you.
Hallo Jake, baie geluk met die wen daai kan. Jake, just on how mentally mature the players were on the field, just not tonight, but last week as well. They shut the crowd out. There were a couple of early ref penalties that when it looked like this would defeat them in on their try line, they stuck in, they fought. Does this show you that from the start of the season to now that the mental side of your players' game has grown significantly as well?
Yeah, Leighton. I mean, part of the thing is that we've rotated our players a lot this year, more than last year. And with that comes a risk that some of the players who are playing haven't learned the lessons from last year and the year before. So, yeah, it does. It does make me feel very happy that we've got a bit of fight in us. We don't get sucked into what happens in and around the field. We show resilience, as I said, and there's a little bit extra. Our team's growing, and we're still not where we need to be. I know. I don't want to jump the gun now. We're not where we need to be at all. But we'll grow, and wins like this can only make the change room atmosphere, feel like it does. Wins like this can only make you a better team. So, back-to-back wins against two teams that have won the tournament in 2 years. Munster won it 2 years ago, Glasgow won it last year, and I repeat myself, to win those two games away from home against teams that have been good enough to win this competition says a lot about how we're growing as a group.
And then just will you, when you get home, send them now to go clear their heads for this next week?
Yep. That's that's the plan. I think they need to get away. They've had 4 weeks away. Some of them got young families. I think it's only fair that they spend some time with their families as well. There's no more that I can do, in terms of preparation. We've been playing for such a long time now. I need them to get away, spend some time with their family, switch off a bit, and then, go into the last two games of the round robin before we go into playoffs. So, yeah, it's definitely something we spoke about, that they need to get home, spend some time, and come back nice and fresh and nice and sort of focused on finishing off the campaign the way that we've gone through these last 2 weeks.
Thank you. Travel well.
Thank you.
Carl Fabian, from Carl, we'll go to Morgan Peak. From Morgan Peak, MV.
Thanks, Linga. Jake, brilliant win for you guys. The possibility, if you finish like the Lockies at this stage, you could end up meeting with these guys again in the semi-finals, I think. What would you change in what you've done today?
Well, hopefully the venue. That'll be the most important thing, Carl. There's lots to play for, play back at home at Loftus. And the destiny is in our hands now. We obviously know what we need to do in the next two games. And if we can change the venue, and I say that not because we don't want to, back ourselves playing away from home, but I just like to, with all the travel we've done this year, I think it will be a massive relief for the players that they don't have to travel away, unless obviously they finish second and they've got to play the winning team away from home. So that'll be the major thing that we'll talk about in the next couple of weeks.
And in hindsight, I mean, with your success this year in the URC, what would you change for next year?
Yeah, well, it's difficult, Carl, because we haven't finished the campaign yet. I mean, if everything goes according to plan and we win the competition at the end, then there wouldn't be too many changes I would make. And the way it is now, I mean, most of the decisions we made, most of the changes we made, most of the choices we've had to make, whether it's selection, whether it's touring, whether it's squad sizes, whether it's training programs, has worked in our favor. So, I think it's probably easier to say that when we get to the back end of the competition and the competition is finished, then we can look back and see what worked and what didn't work from week to week.
Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you.
Morgan? Okay, MV?
Jake, congratulations. It was a fantastic feeling sitting in it, and watching 10 months of planning. It's not a revenge match, but it's obviously took a lot of planning, and it all panned out beautifully. Well done.
Thank you. Thanks.
A couple of things. You took them on their strengths. You didn't give them that fast start that they want, that they used to, and you just dominated the scrums and the likes. Was that part of your plan?
Yeah, it was, and we were a bit fortunate. I mean, when I say fortunate, I mean it was unbelievable by Jan Hendrik to make that cover tackle and hold up that international winger. I mean, otherwise they do in 7-8 minutes get some points. So it was a little bit of deja vu for me as well, because we had 2 or 3 chances early on in the 22 that we turned the ball over, and I thought, it was a bit like last year's final. We played all the rugby in the early parts of the game, never put them away, and then brought them back into the game late on. So therefore, I repeat myself, the lessons we learned, the way we started, the way we kept them out, the way we defended. And I say, Blanca, that's a hooker finishing off the game, a young lock forward who, he hasn't played rugby. Can't remember the last time he's played. That's his first game for the Bulls. And he's been with us for 2 years because of his injury. So, I mean, that was inevitable. And that's why I said a bit of leniency from my side to them, because it was a rampant Glasgow team that were champions last year coming at them in the last 5 minutes, and they will have learned from that, MV.
Just one last question. Do your forwards practice those grubber kicks?
Yeah, I remember John Smith always used to tell me there's no such thing as a bad kick, just a bad chase. So I think he's obviously taught that to Jan Hendrik.
Well done, Jake.
Lloyd Bernard and Nathan Gogela.
Thanks, Lunga and Jake. Well done on the tour. I know you're probably a little bit reluctant to talk about individuals given the squad effort that there's been over the last month, but that shift from Jan Hendrik in particular today was pretty special. Looking from afar, I mean the try save, the energy, the work rate, the physicality. I mean, does that really just typify the kind of performance of the team as a whole and the squad as a whole over the last month?
It does. He's just been nicknamed Oosturant. I don't know what the reason was, but his new nickname in the team is now Oosturant. So it was reminiscent of the days when I was lucky enough to coach Oos. So, when you're that age and you can play, and I said in an interview, he was a lock at school, and then he was a prop at school, and then he's been a hooker, and he's gone and adapted into, a prop again. So it's going to make our squad so much stronger. And, yeah, he epitomized today, and I don't single out any players, but he epitomized for me, how we can do back-to-back efforts, because that's what he did today. I mean, his back-to-back efforts were outstanding.
Jake, firstly, congratulations with the win. Jake, you had a penalty on the 80th minute. Maybe perhaps you could have gone for the 3 and take the losing bonus points away from Glasgow. I mean, it could have come down. It could come down to 1 log point, whether you end 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah, and it could come down to 2 wins at home, which means we have more wins than them, Nathan. Because whoever has the most wins finishes above the other team, and that's the risk you take. If you hit the pole and they counter-attack and they go and score, then obviously the answer would be, why didn't you just kick it out and take the win? And it's respect to them too, Nathan. I mean, they're champions. They're playing at home. They were on a roll. The momentum was in their favor. And I just felt that it was the way it should be done. Take the win. If you had said to me before the game, they get 1, we get 4, we would have said to you, fantastic. So We don't want to be arrogant, say, let's go for the poles, hit the pole, give a penalty away for a high tackle or whatever, and the next thing you end up, chasing them back to your try line. So I'm comfortable. We wanted the win. We got the win. It's 4 weeks on tour. We had a mix and match bench today, and I still would have said, let's take the 4 points.
Jake, I know you didn't appreciate that I went at you with this whole revenge situation, but now surely we can all put it to bed that you've beaten the team that you lost to in the final last year.
Yeah, Nathan, there's no revenge. I repeat myself, we're going to play them again. So what happens now? The headlines is revenge time for Glasgow when they play us again. No, I mean, that's rugby. For me, I don't work on that basis. I want them to play well. I want the team to play rugby because they enjoy rugby. I want them to be up for it because they want to be best and they want to win games. So we never spoke at all about revenge. And what I did say to you is that when you're involved in sport, like Rory McIlroy showed me, is there's unfinished business. And that's why when he was so emotional winning what he did, we need to beat big sides to win this competition. And if it means along the way that we got to beat Munster and Glasgow away from home to win the comp, then it is what it is. So definitely no revenge, just a sweet victory about the fact that we now got our destiny in our own hands. And if things go according to plan, we can possibly play a semi-final at home. But we still got a lot of work to do. There's still 3 games to go. We got 2 pool games and a quarterfinal, and we would have learned that no one can jump the gun. I mean, last year teams that finished high up on the log lost the quarterfinals, 2 teams below them. So we still got a lot of planning and work to do in the next couple of weeks.
Awesome, thank you. Congratulations.
Nicholas, can I check? Are you covered by the prior questions?
Yeah, I think I'm good, thanks.
Thanks, Ronaldo.
Jake, congratulations on the win. Just a question from my side. Marcel and Cameron spoke a lot this week about the team building and how this tour has really kind of brought the squad together. How important do you think this 4-week tour was for you guys for the future of the Bulls rugby team? I mean, you can see in tonight's game how the guys played for each other. And I know the commentators also commented on this and how the guys worked back on the kicks when you guys worked back. I mean, the squad was unbelievable tonight. So how do you think this tour built the squad for the future of the Bulls rugby team?
Yeah, and it's not just tonight. I mean, it's the whole tour. It's spending time together. It's credit. I just said to our CEO, credit. We based ourselves in a really nice place. We spent some quality time together. We got 2 massive wins against 2 really quality teams. Ronaldo, I mean, you've played rugby at the highest level. You'll know what I'm talking about. Is that those things they're memories that help you build a culture in your team. They're memories that build friendships, and they're memories that build, the cohesion and the understanding in your group as well. Not just with players, with coaches, with staff, with So, this is obviously something that we're going to be really appreciative of when we go now into, as I said, the last back end of the competition. But I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We've still got a lot of games. I see Cardiff beat Munster today, and we've got Cardiff next up. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done between now and the end of the tournament.
And then just a last question. You've obviously emphasized this whole year about going into the last stretch of the competition. Are you happy with where you guys are currently? Have you guys gone above your expectations, or was this kind of your goal to be in this situation now?
I mean, your goal is always to be on top and finish first on the log, so you can have home finals and semi-finals. But I look back, we lost 2 games, we lost a couple of games. We lost 1 game with a red card, and we probably lost 1 or 2 games that we could have won had we finished the things we did in the first half off. But that's the nature of this competition, is you're never going to get it right every single week. So where we are now, Ronaldo, is 2 wins. I think 2 wins with bonus points almost can guarantee us that we can play at home. But we're already now in the top 4, means we're going to host a quarterfinal. That was always our goal, was to finish as high up as we can, finish in the 8. And that's the first thing we've now done. We've qualified. we've got a home quarterfinal, and you know the hard work now is to see whether we can finish higher up and get a home semi-final as well.
Good luck, coach. Enjoy the flight back.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Simon, are you covered?
One question, thanks, Luca. Congrats, Jake. Well done. A question about the EPCR. Are you glad that you haven't gone down that route to manage that as well, taking into consideration where you are at the moment?
Yeah, Simon, I reluctantly say to you, there's a silver lining in the rain on the cloud, because you know, and there's a gold in the rainbow because we get a week off and we can recover. But that was never our intention. You know, we wanted to play in the semi-finals. We would love to have played against Bath this weekend in the back end of that competition, because that's who we are at the Bulls. We want to win as much as we can, and we want to play against the best teams as often as we can. So yeah, reluctantly I go, yeah, there is a bit of a silver lining, but you know, it wasn't the initial planning when we left home. We were always planning that we were going to travel and play 5 games on tour.
Thanks, Jake. Safe travels.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, coach.
Thank you, guys.